Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Harmony. I'm a twin flame expert helping twin flames around the globe face fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Welcome to my weekly glow show. Today's topic is part 2 of Can I Have More Than One Twin Flame? Such a deep, expansive question. It's the $1,000,000 question, right? And it's going around right now. And I started this topic in part 1 that brought up more thoughts, ideas, and pieces for me to share with you from the divine. But it also brought up a lot of questions. And so I wanted to be able to address those as well as come into this topic with a part 2 to share some more specific channels of this because it is so multidimensional and such a deep subject here. So I hope that if you're coming into this as the first part of this, I would really recommend you go back and watch part 1 because I'm kind of picking up from here and expanding on it, even though there's a couple recap things that I'll be mentioning. It'd be better, I think, if you started with that one first and then come back to this one. And I will link these two together in a playlist, and that way you can, connect to them as a grouping. Okay, so welcome. And so let's start by, I just kind of want to see where guidance wants me to kind of plug into this topic here. So first of all, we are coming together. The reason this is coming together as a question to begin with is because collectively we are being pulled in this web, this funneling all of our energies through this mass uniting all at one time, which I've said is the more twin flames are reuniting than the history of all time, based on the time and space that we are coming into this as a collective, that we signed up as part of a soul contract. And that because of that, we're all funneling in and our energies are being kind of pushed together in order to help us gain our lessons that we signed up for, and that we are also fulfilling the contracts that we signed up for. So what I want to start with is sharing with you a little bit about our soul agreement and our soul's contract. So I mentioned it before that at the beginning of time, we make an agreement with our significant other. And as we do so, one takes one part and the other one takes the other part. And we weave in and out of lives typically until we're ready to reunite. And then we come back in to try to finish and finalize that contract, basically. So since I did that last video, the guidance has shown me so much information to share on the sacred agreement. And I'm actually going to have a really cool free tool coming out to help you free your soul of all this past, because the whole time I've worked through this process with twins and the ascension acceleration, it's been, the big question is, well, how do I do that? Well, I help people do that on a one-on-one basis, but I ask guidance. There's so many people out there that need this information. What do you want me to present to help everyone? And so I'm almost finished with it, and it's going to be really, really cool. It's going to help you understand how to cancel the contracts you can, yet complete your soul's agreement is what the goal of it is. So when that's available, I'm going to make more information on the soul contract to share with you at that time. But for now, let's talk a little bit about what that sacred agreement really is. There's 5 parts to it. And the first part of it has to do with the sacred agreement between you and your beloved, and which part that you came here jointly to share a contract. And so there's joint agreements between you that have to be fulfilled. And within that, then there's the karmic vows. And the karmic vows are what you each chose to take and learn as your life lessons through this process. And I'm going to go into that later. That's not the topic here. I'll share on a video in just that and exactly what those vows are that I'm being shown and everything. But in addition to you having your joint agreement of what you're teaching each other and your individual lessons that become your virtues and your vows, you also have a soul contract with other beings besides your significant other, your beloved, your twin flame, your highest vibrational partner of this lifetime, whatever it is you signed up for in that contract. And in the soulmate contracts, the soul contracts, that is the contracts you're having with all the other types of soulmates, all other relationships outside of your beloved. Okay. And I'm going to recap those just from a very high place of, just listing those for you in a minute. And a couple of them they're going to elaborate on from last time. But those types of contracts I covered in great detail in part 1. So if you're still questioning that, go back and re-listen to that, because every one of these people that you interact with through this coming together and this mass reuniting and the mixture of all types of interactions, it's all a contract. But in your soul contracts, as far as like your soulmates are broken down into 2 types, and I'll share that in a minute, okay? But so in addition to that, we have karmic debris and karmic clearing to do for the collective. And it's what we came in to help clear the past universal destruction that has taken place over not just the past, this lifetime, but we're talking about going back to the beginning of time. We're going all the way back to clear those vows and all the destruction and all of the pain and suffering and all the pieces that became a part of this collective energy as a whole. And so we're clearing that. And so in addition to that, we are in this collective clearing, we as twin flames had taken on the virtues and vows to help clear the wages of sin throughout the time of eternity. So that being, we've also chose as twins to come in and clear what we know as the cardinal sins, the 7 deadly sins, in order to help clear the karmic patterns of eternity, of the past, of everyone throughout eternity. And so in this information that I have coming to share with you and how to free your soul of that, it's all in there of what I'm being shown to have people do. So again, more to come on that. There'll be a video or 2 kind of somewhere. It might be in the next couple videos, but I will get that information out as fast as I can because it's needed, and the divine has kind of put that to the forefront for me to share with you. And that's one reason why me creating that and downloading that information took me an extra day or 2 to be able to get this video out that I said I would try to get out by Wednesday, Thursday. So anyway, so I want to recap that just to be clear. We have our soul agreement that's broken down into the sacral agreement between us and our twin of what we jointly have to work on between us, our individual lessons of a karmic vows and virtues, then our soul contracts that we have with everyone else. We have the karmic debris of the past eternity for the collective that we're clearing, that we've taken on, and all of that umbrellas to clear the wages of the 7 deadly sins. So it's broken into these 5 parts. Now, I want to now share with you like a couple things about our soul frequency and our soul signatures that are really just different things, because I think that's where a little bit of people were a little bit confused. So in the last video I also talked about twin flames versus twin souls and twin soul versus twin ray. So I'm not going to go into that here, okay? But what I do want to go into to clarify for you is that when energy channels are like their frequency, we are tapping into like different planes, different channels, like radio stations, really. It's no different than like a radio station. And you tune into the channel that you want to listen to the signal to get a specific station to hear like a specific, frequency that's coming from that station. Okay. And so with our beloved, there's actually a soul signature that's different than that. So the frequency and the channels of energy that we're operating on is just about as each meeting on that same like station, basically. So we're meeting these people on these different stations, these different frequencies, but that does not mean that they are our beloved, our true twin. Now, we do meet our beloved in that frequency, but the thing about the difference in all these people and us, our beloved and us can only meet on the galactic plane together in the galactic space, not on these other cosmic spaces and other energetic channels, because there's different channels within that, but that would be a whole topic in itself. But just know that only your eternal twin that you accepted, incarnated with, that in this lifetime, and or through your soul's evolution, you came from that same spark and you split, becoming your eternal twin. Only the two of you can meet on the galactic channel, and only the two of you have a soul signature that is that same vibrational match, like a fingerprint, that it's a heart print. It's a sonar signal that's on a certain vibration that only two of you match that vibration of that soul signature, and it's not these energetic channels though, okay? And that's how the two of you communicate through eternity. So, when people think about separation and not being with their beloved, you're always, and you always have been the whole eternity with them. They are part of you. They are in you, and you don't separate that. So that is our eternal. Then I had mentioned that we can have, if our beloved is not incarnated, we can be a twin soul that's came into full union with our other half of twin soul, creating the twin flame. And us being a twin soul can work with our beloved on the other side, and in this lifetime connect to our highest vibrational frequency and match that we possibly can. Now, here's the thing. You got to remember, I just said this is all based on contracts, meaning what you end up with and the end of the day in this lifetime is what you put in the contract of who the person is. And everyone that you needed to facilitate your journey to get there, there's a contract between every one of them. There's a contract between us and everyone we meet. Even if it's one time we've ever met in our life, there's a contract between all of it. And it all is aligning in this divine perfection time that can only happen at the time we're ready to reveal that information about ourselves, and or understand the message that we're to get out of it, or the lesson we're to get out of it. So this whole process is in divine order and in divine timing. So now, the reason I'm saying that is because if our beloved is not in this lifetime, then we technically, we came here still a lot of times with definitely a mission, our soul's progression and all of those things. But it's a manner of being able to realize and understand. And I've had a lot of people recently, and people that their twins have passed and known, they felt a little guilty about working with somebody else, knowing that their twin had passed, and felt like that was creating a separation. But it's not. Your twin can actually help you find and match with your vibrational match of this lifetime. So the more you can communicate with them, stay connected to them, they will actually facilitate your journey from the other side. So, I've had that question more than once, so I wanted to bring that up here. So in addition then to that, as far as our eternal having, clearing up here the soul signature and the frequencies, then I've also, had multiple questions asked as far as, well, if my twin is here, do I get to, like my eternal twin, do I then get to choose anything different? Well, it kind of depends on a couple of things. What's in the contract? Okay. But I want to tell you something, that we're doing a mass reuniting of twins coming together. So the odds are very good that you signed up to reunite during this lifetime. Now, that also means that there are different types of eternal twin relationships, because a lot of times there's mission involved. A lot of times, it could, you could have like a friendship type relationship, but the ultimate goal with that twin is to break through all of those lessons, to come into union as the beloved that you came here to experience, and the greatest amount of love, and returning to Eden. So the odds of you, ending up in your reunion in this lifetime is like, I'd go bet a lot of money on that. I really would, based on the alignment of everything. So what I would ask somebody in that aspect is, what do you believe? Because that's what matters if you're going to end up with them in this lifetime, because that's why it's boiled down to timelines don't exist anymore. It's like what used to be in the future, and we're in the vortex of the energy that everything exists for us. So like, that future that we used to think is going to be with us is actually our right now. It's already, everything for our destiny is available to us. It's just us tuning into the right channel to get in alignment with our destiny, which is where our beloveds are and waiting for us technically. And that's a whole nother little bit of a topic here. So I know that's very deep. It might be hard to swallow, but that I'll try to see if that wraps up here in a minute to make full circle with that. But in addition to that, our karmic past has collapsed, because the past is gone and everything, and that destruction is leaving, and we're creating the new templates. So as we operate in this space and time, it's just a matter of our choice, really. Okay. And, this is when I say choices. You can't get out of the contract, meaning you signed up for a contract in this lifetime. You can't get out of the contract, but what you can do is you can complete your contract and what it takes to get there, and you can cancel the debris away from it, and being aware of what it is you need to work on to free your soul is what you need to focus on here. But, within that, what do you choose in that is the question I'm saying here. What you focus on expands. You can choose, two people can take the same trip, and one person's going to see it as like, oh my gosh, that's the worst trip ever. Another person could take a trip and say, oh, that was the best trip I ever had. And when you look at the aspect of that, it's all perception. So what do you see? And you're the co-creator now. You're getting in the vortex of being part of the creator, and with the creator, and with source in this fifth dimensional energy and these new templates. So what do you choose? So you need to get really clear what you want and what you choose, and shift your focus. And meaning like, and what I mean by that, there's the fine line, is you got to say yes to the journey. And if my outcome is to end up with whoever it is, I'm going to align with that. But if I do believe that they are my eternal twin and I'm supposed to be with them, but they're not here right now, then because there's other contracts, other soul agreements that maybe have not been filled, and other lessons that may still need to be learned, if we're sitting here and we're saying we're waiting on our twin, we're holding that up, because you still have to let go of the expectation of outcome and learn and get into alignment with what you signed up to experience, which means, not just like the divine masculine has had so many karmic contracts that are helping them clear, the divine feminine may also have a contract that needs to be finished and pulled into alignment. And I can promise you the universe will not necessarily let that happen to go in any other way than people come through our lives for a reason and a season. And when that season's over, it's over. So you can just surrender the aspect of the fear of getting into that, because you just go into it with the integrity of staying open, keeping the door open, but not waiting. What you need for your journey is going to come towards you to help you work on, the work inside of you to get you in alignment with where you need to be. And this is where I said, they may be on the other side of in that vortex and in that destiny and in that channel waiting on you, because you may be sitting here like just saying, okay, I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. Well, you may not have finished your contract. You may not have finished your lessons. So stop waiting is the point. And this is where I said before, and I've said so many times, there's that fine line between staying open and saying yes to the journey, but letting go of the expectation of the outcome. And that's what blocks us here. That's the block. So you got to let go of the outcome and the expectations and the conditions and focus on you. And don't be slamming the doors saying, well, if you're not going to come in to do your part, then I'm done. I'm moving on, because I can promise you, you can try that too. But that's where universe also won't let you. And, that's why we also have, I can tell you, that means you're also running from you. Like you're saying they're running, but that means the mirror back and the trigger back to that is you're running from you by shutting that door and going on. So this is such a fine line to walk between all of this little space here that I'm talking about, but yet it's the space in here that's part of the biggest holdup between this, and ego battle between past life connections through this of multiple connections, even if it's just energetically with your twin, and all the abandonment, and is the reason why these blocks are still here. And again, in this completion of your soul contract information that I've downloaded that's going to be coming, it's going to help you. I'm being shown, by the time you go through that, it's going to give you so much to clear the mud. So anyway, so now I just want to see where we are, because we were talking about the energetic planes, and I've talked about our twins, the eternal twin, and the true experience. That's where I was talking about. So and the choice. And I want to say one more thing about the choice, about that, to be really clear. If it's written in the stars and if it's in the contract where we're going to go, technically, you can look at that as, okay, well, there's not free will, right? But the problem is where people don't realize where free will comes in is how you choose to get into the channel, into the vortex, into your destiny, and into alignment is what that means, where everything that is what you signed up for exists. So basically, how do you want to choose to tune into the channel? That's the question. Do you want to surrender and let go and go free flowing and just kind of go with the flow and move into that alignment? Or are you going to be fighting that process, which most people are, swimming upstream, and that's causing you to create such a battle with your own self, really? And it feels like everything around you, but it's you creating the battle of fighting the process. And that's where, the undertow is going to suck you in. It's going to suck you under, and it's defeating, and it's depressing, and it keeps you stuck in that space. So it's about surrendering to the process that there is a contract and that there's a plan, and that you just got to tune into the right channel to tap into your destiny and let go of the rest and go with the flow. And I've been being shown so many ways. We're being asked to let go of the details. The details don't matter at this moment. And that's why another thing about this is being able to lose the labels, because there's so many of us being brought together, creating webs of these connections that's keeping us all pulled together to get all these lessons, and triggering and getting people so hung up on different pieces that, the label of being, twin flame, and, how it's becoming such a big fad thing. And so many people researched it, done it, going through it, tired of it, and being then redirected, and at the time and space they should, getting lots of bad raps. Oh, you're never going to be there. So the thing is, it's that is a very sacred relationship. Okay, there's no doubt about it, but it's lost the value in the process. If you look at the big picture and the scheme of what people's perception is of that perception needs change. And even we as twins need to help change that perception. And part of that is to lose the idea that it has to be hard and it has to be a negative experience, because it's quite opposite than that. It's actually very beautiful when you're looking at it from the right perception. And that's like letting go and tuning in and looking within and seeing that the greatest gift that your beloved can give you is you being able to become the best version of you, and then being grateful for that towards them and being thankful. And a thankful heart and gratitude brings more of, right? So, these expectations are really, we just need to face ourselves in this aspect and let go of the expectations that we put on everything else. So that is creating, I want to say this is coming through here. It's a little off of where it was, but it's coming through to tell you that is what's happening in this, is creating so many projection, because of the twin flame craze is coming through and everybody's waking up consciously, twin flame or not, and everyone having ascension, going through ascension, and everyone having a soul purpose, and the whole universe going up in its, vibration. And then we're all seeking more purpose and meaning in life. Well, everyone is starting to fall into this pattern of this twin flame craze, and there's all kinds of different experiences coming through that aren't even real twin, not even real twins, but people are getting so confused of it and creating such a craze. Then what's happening to some of this is there's a projection put on to that person when there really aren't actually true or eternal, I should say eternal twins, or even potentially creating a true twin flame dynamic. So let's go back to the start with the true twin flame dynamic. So if you're not in this lifetime, if your eternal twin is not here in this lifetime and you can work with them from the other side, you're going to be granted a true twin flame journey. Their highest vibrational match that will meet you on those frequencies. You don't have the same soul signature, but you're going to meet in the same frequency of those channels that you can match in to mimic a twin flame journey at your highest potential of this lifetime. Now, let's just say this. Do you have a twin flame that's your eternal twin here, and can you choose to get someone else that's going to hit you in the vibrational match? Well, it depends on what's in the contract. All right? It's true, because it really depends on what you chose in your agreement. And I can promise you that if you're trying to run from that experience and that twin flame, your eternal twin flame, just because you don't want to deal with them anymore, you're also holding it up again, and you're fighting the process, trying to direct into something in order to align with something that is pulling you out of alignment, and it's going to slow up the progress, and now you do become the one slowing it down. Here's another piece of that as far as the progress, though. But if you're not running from it to go to someone else, and you're sitting back saying, I'm open and I'm willing and I'm ready for my beloved, and I'm going to continue my path, and I'm not going to let them or anyone else rob me of my energy, rob me from my empowerment, and take my identity from me of my own inner peace and happiness, then I'm going to continue my journey, and I'm going to ask the divine to bring within my journey who I need to finish contracts with, who needs to come in and help me facilitate and show me the path of direction. And that meaning, being open to everything and attached to nothing until it's in vibrational match and it aligns to where you're supposed to be. And then at that point, it will unfold, and it will be the process, and you'll align with who and where you're supposed to. All right. So that is the difference of saying I have a choice in this or not. If somebody's beloved and eternal's on the other side, they don't have a choice. So they're highest vibrational match in this lifetime will be a true twin flame experience by having awakened to it, understanding. And I have worked with multiple clients like this. I even had a new client just yesterday that I've worked through with us that came in and like even came to me knowing and had already awakened that her beloved is on the other side, but she wants to come in and have her highest vibrational match that she isn't even aligned with yet. But she knows she wants to get ready to align with that person. Now, how beautiful is that to already kind of be on that direction and know how you want to proceed forward with clarity and seeing the energy with her and her beloved on the other side as being this beautiful relationship that she loves and can feel the love. And so, all right. So I hope that kind of cleared up the difference in eternal twin and twin flame dynamic, or I'm sorry, eternal twin and true twin dynamic or experience. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and move in now to like our soulmates, which are two types of soulmates that I mentioned. The soulmates are broken down into our typical just soulmate and our karmic soulmate or our karmic relationships. So one of the biggest differences between them is our soulmates that we know the deepest. They can also be connected to karma or helping us clear, but they're really more in a way of helping us with our virtues and helping us learn our virtues and our lessons that we signed up for individually. And then they are also helping to facilitate. I'm being shown, even in my own personal experience, I'm being shown that they are helping us kind of cross the finish line as the twin. It's like there's a celebration going on, and they know that they came in to support you this life. And these are like family members, like parents and siblings and children of ours, and even some close friends, and could even be like a romantic partner. But most of those are in karmic connection, being like we're getting prepared here to connect with our beloveds for the twin flame connection. So, and I will even tell you too, I want to say something else about that for family. I'm even seeing where I have like grandchildren and great nieces and nephews, and they are all coming in as, the indigos and the crystals and the starseed, and they came in and they're pointing me in directions. Like they're like coming in, and it's not exactly like clearing any karma with them. And it's not that they maybe came in and maybe they've been a soulmate, but they're already clear this time of their karma, or at least some of it. And now they're my stars in my universe, pointing and lighting direction and literally pointing me in directions and becoming the facilitator of so many in this journey, have plugged leaks in so many ways to help me unfold a lot of breaking codes as I've awakened. So that's happening too. And but back to the soulmate and karmic part here, it's karmic soulmate. Our soulmates we've spent so many lifetimes with. There's such a like deep connection there. We just know them, so familiar with them. And our karmic partners, we don't necessarily have as many lifetimes with them. They're not as familiar with us, but yet they're helping us like clear our karmic patterns. And I'm going to give you an example of this. So this is a karmic soulmate I'm talking about. So like my last life partner, him and I were together, and we were I knew him to be a soulmate like right away. We connected on every level. And he took me to the depths of this greatest amount of love I knew at the time. And that was for 4 years. And then for the last 3 years, he took me to hell in order to break me apart. And that way I could open up and crack open the heart in order to be prepared for the twin flame journey of all of these depths of dumping out everything that's going on, inside of me that I've needed to let go of. Now, I uncovered in the process of the awakening, realizing that we've been mother and son in a past life, and our web of connection of contracts is even linked into my beloved champ. So many pieces in this has really kept us pulled together. And I'm seeing these little pieces still in things that are coming up, like pictures and like out on these websites of things I'd done a long time ago that are like profile pictures, and some like I go to get on my WordPress and somehow it's connected to a picture from something outside of there that it pulled in, and then I go to try to change that profile picture, and then I'm locked out because it's going into a site to change it that I have to have a password to, that I've never seen this site in my life, and I don't even know the password to get into that, and I can't get the picture of him and I changed. These are the like how these things are showing up in this web that we're entangled into, because it's part of the contract, it's part of the lesson. And so him and I are still like, we're going to court for me to get my beloved champ back, and we're still entangling that web, and he could always feel that web. He could feel, he always talked about it being a web, and him and I breaking apart that relationship has been so hard to break apart. But in addition to that, being the karmic and teaching me to break my karmic pattern for this lifetime, through the whole process of us being together, it was as if he, like, I cleaned up messes from him, and like he would do all these things. It was like I was always cleaning something up of his. And whenever I was doing that, then basically I discovered by the time I got out of that relationship, he taught me my karmic pattern was being the fixer. And I no longer want to fix things for anybody else or fix anybody else again, that I wanted to only take care of me. And we're talking like in that depths of hell, it took me and caused me health issues that I ended up having certain issues that even I took on uterine cancer based on the emotional aspect, and the uterus is home, with that going on. And this is the depths of what him and I had went through. And so it's deep, folks. It's deep when you try to break this apart. So the other thing that I want to say in that is that this last video I did when I was talking about breaking contracts and telling people to do that, I had heard this noise behind me, and then like I didn't pay attention. But later I was talking about glass breaking and stuff like that in the last video I did, which was about harvest and the Taurus and the full moon, which is today and tomorrow. And so afterwards I went out of the room and I came back in and I looked up, and this window over here is busted all the way up. And that happened while I was talking about shattered glass and those contracts in that last video while I was recording the video. And so the reason I know this is linked to a contract, along with multiple things with my ex-life partner and everything we have going on with the dog, is that I had over the weekend and multiple times had kept looking at the window and seeing all these spots up there that were triggering in me the concept and the idea of how many times I cleaned up his messes, because he put the spots on the windows spraying for bugs for me whenever over the summer, and he came to spray for me, and he had done it outside. And at the time I asked him to bring a ladder so I could get up there to clean it off, and he's like, my shoulder hurts, so I'm not going to be able to bring a ladder. And then things happened with my dog, and the spots were still up there. So over the weekend, when I was cleaning up all this debris and filling all these pieces loose, it was like subconsciously, I would walk in this room and my eyes would just look up. It wasn't like I was intentionally doing it. And then on Monday, whenever I did that, the glass broke. So wow, how bizarre and amazing at the same time that is. But it's showing me that there was a contract that broke when that window broke. And it's also showing the power, when I was telling you, the power of things breaking around with people breaking in this process. Because whenever I discovered I was being the fixer with him and I was getting ready to move out with him, I also had this necklace on. It meant a lot to me. It was a circle, and it said, that life is not about life is about creating yourself, so to speak. Anyway, so the necklace was a metal loop on it and was on like a chain, and the loop literally burst, like broke. And the circle, to me, it represented creating a full circle in life and going full circle. And that broke and that fell. So, you know, that and then this, and then I told you then in the last video or a couple videos ago about the crock pot shattering and all the other shattered glass I've experienced. And so there's still some contracts being broken there. But okay, so let's move on. I know that soulmates and karmic soulmates is the difference there. So just to recap that, the soulmates are going to be helping to facilitate really us getting across the finish line very deep, which are, again, some of our karmic ones, but our karmic ones are helping us to be able to break our karmic pattern that we came here to break. All right. Now, again, mine was being the fixer in everyone's life. That pattern is something that I chose to learn through the soul contracts. Also, it's not as much of the vow and the virtue. Those are a little bit different. But, the patterns of the way we handle things and letting go of the pieces along the way, it becomes a part of what we got to correct within ourselves. Okay. All of that, more detail of that will be in the information I'll share to come. So be sure to stay tuned for that. So now I want to move on to the other types of relationships, but I've really covered them, so I'm not going to go into much detail about them. But what I do want to say is they consist of a false twin flame, the twin flame facilitator, the twin flame avatars, and then I have also dealt with some twin flame union facilitators that I've personally worked with that has helped me create templates for me to teach others. And that being to harmonize a union in the 5D and harmonize a union in the 3D, to teach people how to do that, to keep the mission going. See, I'm here to help people get into alignment with not just their mission, but in their reunion. And so I'm technically, having to continue that process to make sure that I can come here to present and fulfill my part of my contract. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail again about these other types because that's in part 1. But a couple of things I do want to note. The false twin flame versus the true twin flame. Your false twin flame will not feel as familiar as your true twin flame, and your false twin flame is definitely more karmic in nature and can feel like a karmic partner. But the little bit difference in the karmic partner and the false twin flame is the false twin flame is acting as a twin flame dynamic, where the karmic partner is like my long-term life karmic soulmate that helped me create the break in my karmic pattern of my ex-life partner. I just shared with you that we've been mother-son before, okay? And we're breaking all those past lifetimes now. And that's another thing with our soul family. We've spent so many lives together. The ones that we're most connected to and have the most webs and most contracts and most connections, not just from this lifetime, those connections are coming from all the way through here, that we're breaking not just this lifetime, we're breaking other lifetimes with them. All right. So that's another reason why they can be so deep. And we have to go back and break those contracts with them to free our soul for now. Okay. And that's why it's so important to go through this process. A twin flame facilitator, I had mentioned, is technically a twin flame wandering around without their twin flame, but they are coming in and they are plugging leaks, and they're creating what I've been shown as the twin flame trinity. And that twin flame trinity would technically be, say for instance, me going out and presenting the mission, and the divine generators coming in to create the culmination of, say, where the eternal twin is and where the facilitator is. It takes both of them to create what you need to go do it. to go fulfill your mission, or to continue to progress on your journey so you're not being held back. They're facilitating your journey. Now, one thing that I do want to mention with this twin flame facilitator, they're operating on the same energetic channel of you as you, at least for the moment. I've had multiple twin facilitators, and one that's very specifically that helped me uncover this and being shown this, which, by the way, I mentioned this last video, but I want to bring it up here. Every interaction of these types of relationships I'm talking about, I've experienced, and either a combination of personally and or with clients, and or went to divine guidance to make the connections of all of this to go share. So all of what I'm sharing is a lot of firsthand experience here. And so with the facilitator, then what I'm going to give you an example of me and my facilitator. So we have operated. We've harmonized, but we're not exactly on the same energetic plane, because now that I got to the space where I needed to, I've kind of shifted into a different vibration. And that's not that he hasn't, but it's sort of like it's created this distance that we're not in as much connection, or like he's not facilitating my journey as much anymore. It's just now that we're, he's a part of my journey that will forever be a part of my journey, because we've created such a great dynamic. But it's almost like the lessons have been learned. And now during that process, when we were learning, though, and I talk about this vibrational stuff a lot in my book, Twin Flame Code Breaker, which I'd highly recommend you read. And also the free 1111 Key Codes talks a lot more about this. But these energy channels are related to which ray we incarnate from within the spectrum of the rainbow. So blue is the lowest vibration, violet is the highest vibration, and then everything in between. So for instance, me and my twin flame facilitator, I am incarnated from the violet ray, which is the highest frequency, and he's incarnated from the blue ray, which then is the lowest frequency. But because he was able to let go to his fullest capacity, and I, even though it was from a violet ray, was being constricted to my highest capacity, we were meeting on the same channel and vibrating in the same space so that we could help each other facilitate our journey. All right. And so that's what that is. And that's what these channels mean. So then in addition to that, I want to say something else here. So that's twin flame facilitator can be part of the twin flame trinity I mentioned. And now what's happening too is there's a lot of twin flame triangles, like triangles are coming up that are keeping people webbed in all of these. What that means is you can try to run from your twin, or they can try to run from you, but there's a link to them around you everywhere you go. And somebody's connected to somebody that's connected to somebody or connected to them, and it's because it's in the contract. Like you can't get away from them. It's in the web. It's pulling you together. The web is energy. We're in the internet of the World Wide Web, keeping us all linked and locked together. So these contracts and these energy portals that are planes and these connections and these cords that are between us like this, it's like the World Wide Web, especially now that we're coming together collectively in this. So, and what's happening in this is we're creating these full circles. We're repeating all the patterns. The people that have been in our life that we've needed to continue, it doesn't even have to be, maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's somebody that crossed our path. It was one of our greatest teachers in life, but we had a contract to teach each other something. And they might have been somebody that, was just, an acquaintance or a friend. But they came through and they were here and, say maybe even 15, 20 years ago, and they're resurfacing and they're coming back. It's because you started opening the portal, and now they're helping you close the portal, like I said, as you cross the finish line, and you are closing contracts, and it's bringing you back together. So these contracts are being closed automatically. Like the universe is bringing everyone back together to close out like what we started, and that's why we're going through these repeating cycles and these repeating patterns, and to finish the contracts. So, and it's really a cool thing when you think about that. So let me see. Okay, so oh, the only other thing I mentioned in the different types of those relationships, I'm sorry, I did mention. No, I mentioned the avatar. Okay, so I believe we're complete on the information that I needed to share with you. Let me just check before I go into a few questions I'm going to answer. No, I feel like it's complete. It's almost like there was something there, but I just wanted to double check and make sure. And I just want to ask guidance if there was that comes back through. So now I'm going to answer the questions for you. And so the questions are, and some of them I kind of answered, but so can you address timelines and how we can jump them? So the timelines I did kind of already mention, okay, that the timelines have all collapsed into the present, all right? So it means that, and where that's coming from, what that means is really the timelines is where we've shifted from 2015 into the new earth heart and the high vibrational energy over the last 2 years. So it started out in the ascension of the 2012, our earth started bringing in higher vibrational energy and downloading it into the earth, which was helping us to upgrade and going through the ascension process. And then in 2015, we started becoming awake enough through that process to then go up and ascend, and as it is in heaven, so it is on earth, to bring that energy back down now to anchor the heavens into the earth and through us. And so that's being more that fifth dimensional energy. And these timelines differences are really just speeds of time, all right, is the timeline. That's why we've collapsed into the destiny and in the vortex, because everything existed in the fifth dimensional. So we're in the timeline. It's just a matter of us catching up to the timeline. And how can we do that as far as jumping that timeline? We let go and raise our vibration to tune in to the vortex and to tune in to the vibration. Now, this stuff that, since I've been seeing this, used to take years and months to work through, that's now been taking months, weeks, days, and we have shifted in these timelines. We're doing it collectively. So we've shifted in these timelines in an aspect of going from fast track to lightning speed. And everyone's on the fast track or lightning speed. And even if you were on the fast track, everybody's shifting to the lightning speed. And the universe is saying it's just happening. It's purging this out of us. It's getting it. It's almost like you can't really jump because you're being pushed into it. You're being shoved into it. And I should say sucked into it. Because that timeline is I talk about a vortex being out here, and you get in the vortex of your destiny, and it's a certain frequency and a certain channel and where you were supposed to be, and it's operating at the new earth and the new dimensions, and fulfilling the earth and the collective mission. You're circling out here, and you get inside, and it's sucking you in. So that's letting go to get into alignment is how you would jump a timeline, so to speak. And it says you talk about choices with others. So do we have a choice not to pick our own twin? I actually already covered that a few minutes ago. The choice really, depends on our contract, really, as well as the other parts I talked about. So if that didn't 100% answer you, I'd suggest you go back and listen to what I said a few minutes ago, because I really covered that already. And can we have an ascension journey with one twin flame, then end up with another twin flame that matches our imprints? So what I want to say about that is it depends on your terminology of twin flames, because I just sat here and said there's so many different types of twin relationships. We're going to talk here with your eternal based on your question. So the one that matches your imprint, your soul signature. So yes, technically through your ascension process, you can have a twin flame experience facilitating you along the journey to get you towards your eternal twin or your highest vibrational partner of this lifetime. So the answer to that technically is yes, but you got to watch these terminology here because you can't have two eternal twins of the same signature. Okay, so here's the next one. So I'm curious because before I came into union with my apparent twin flame, I had a very bizarre karmic dynamic with another person who I finally cleared, and looking back, believed they were my false twin. But when I came into union with my true twin flame, he was in the midst of, and I'm going to say that's probably referring to eternal twin, in the midst of clearing karma with the same person of whom he is related to. And he still has karma to clear because they're family and they're connected, so you can't get 100% rid of them. You can't cut family out, right? So here's the answer. Yes, you can have, well, let me double check and make sure. So technically what you're saying here, and kind of already answered also, that you've got a past life connection here between these contracts you've had with multiple people that are coming in, and you're being put in a combination of either a twin facilitator or a twin triangle here, depending upon which type of dynamic that is. And I said I said facilitator, I'm sorry, the twin trinity, meaning it's a facilitator coming in to connect with you to keep your progression going and plugging the leak for your twin. But then also your triangles are keeping you attached to your twin and you can't get away from them. But what I also want to say to this is if you can't get away from them, because you also, there's another part of this question. If you can't get away from them, it's like there's a lesson for you still to learn in that. So your twin is also keeping you connected to that person you're trying to get away from, that you need to face up, and it's a trigger within yourself, what you need to look in what they're teaching you. And we can have, and I said this a while ago, we can run from person to person, but if we haven't learned the experience, we're going to have a new person come in with the same response, the same triggers, pointing towards us the same direction of the same lessons we need to learn within ourselves. Everything we see in someone is something within us we need to see. And a combination of two pieces to that. It needs to either be what we see in them is us, or what we see in them needs to be, we need to work on doing like the opposite in response to that. So like somebody might be triggering in us that they're shutting us down and, we're running from them. But technically, what they're teaching us is to speak our truth, and that we need to stand up and speak. So, it just depends on what it is. And that would be a little bit more specific. And those are things I can help with in private sessions. So, so you also mentioned that this person seems to be like a block and an avatar, or activator at the same time. Like they're bringing the union in at the same time they're kind of blocking the union. And the block is technically the karmic contract that's keeping you connected here. That the block needs to be cut with the contract needs to be fulfilled. At the same time, you're right. They're being the activator, sort of like a facilitator. And I actually like that word, the activator, for that aspect. In order to keep this process together and going forward, so you can't get out of it. You're webbed in. You're in a web. That's why I say me and my ex-life partner were webbed in with my dog Champ, because we both loved him so much that it's like that Champ has kept us connected, that no matter how much we wanted to get away from each other, like he was like the connection, and we shared him for 3 years until that contract is now breaking. And that's the whole, if you followed me, part of that anyway. So past life stuff between the three of you. Let's see. I kind of already answered that. Okay, so I answered that question. I answered that. All right. So then another thing here is another part of the same question from the same person says, also there's been another crazy surprise and a fast situation with another manipulative type person that typically is a different person that's activated your desire to call in your partner. And as soon as you had that interaction with that person, your twin flame came in. And you were shocked because it was because of that past experience with a false twin that reappeared, so to speak. And basically, I've answered this too. It's the same thing. It's got to do with the contract. It's got to do with creating an attraction of the same manipulating types and the same patterns in the people that are pointing back to you. New teacher, same lesson. So we either get to choose to see them or we can run from them, but another person's going to show up until we get it. Okay. So next question. Is it possible that I met my false twin flame 23 years ago? And that is true. Yes, because I have had more than one client that I've worked with that's had a false twin and a true twin from multiple years ago, and false twins come back from multiple years ago after, and I'm saying true twin, I should say eternal twin, I'm sorry. The eternal twin has come in later, but yet the false and or karmic or whatever they are, like I've already kind of answered this, they're coming back in to close out the contract. They're coming back in to wed you back in. They're coming back in to get you ready for what you need to do to finish your clearing, to get you in alignment with where you need to go. And then says, I believe now on your journey with you believe you're now on your journey with your eternal twin, and within the last few months that you've been seeing inundated with your ex's name on a license plate. Same thing. So it's connecting, keeping you webbed together, and the codes are breaking to show you. It's like that person, your ex, is pointing you in the direction of where to go, but yet there's a connection between the two of you that needs still cleared. Okay, that needs broken. Something needs broken in the contract there to complete it, or a completion of that. And you said also you've seen some recently been aware of how much their similarities are alike, and that has part of the synchronicities in order for the awakening, that they can do that to mimic, like they can come in to totally become that mimic, so that it literally keeps us facing forward in the direction. So you've heard that saying, you've tried to run from your twin but you can't get away because everything's going to show up that reminds you of them. That's one of those webs. That's one of those connections. It's a piece of the contract that's saying you're going to get the lesson and you can't run from it, because even if you went to this person, they're going to remind you of your twin. So that's part of that, what I've said. So is your true twin that is of same vibrational match, have you not had other lives with you on this plane, only the twin soul? So I believe in this. You're saying the twin soul being the eternal twin that you've had multiple lives with potentially, but your true twin being the one that you're going to come in and have the experience with. That depends on what's in the contract, but what it will tell you is not necessarily, but you could have had. It just depends. I know that I ran into situations like this that, yes, they've had multiple lives together. So technically, you and your eternal beloved typically wanted to do like this, come together and reunite in one lifetime, but it's not happened in that way. There's been multiple lifetimes to get prepared for this, and that's also where I will also say sometimes you might even feel more familiarity with what you would consider a true twin flame connection than your twin soul or eternal beloved, because you've spent more lives with all these soul mates, these soul partnerships, these other people that you haven't necessarily spent that many with your beloved in your twin soul or your twin flame. But I also want to say something else, like a twin flame facilitator and even false twin flames. False twin flames could be on that same vibration to hit your beloved or whoever, and the vibration until you shift out of the vibration. So I will tell you that even though I've experienced personally the twin flame facilitator journey, that person, we met on the same vibration, but we do not have a soul history together. That soul is not familiar, and I've had a couple of those. That soul is not familiar with to me at all. I've been shown because I've asked that. We have no connection prior to this lifetime, but yet we're plugging the leaks of coming together as those wandering souls to complete these contracts because we're meeting on the same channel. Meeting on the same channel is the key here. Doesn't mean we've had past lives that to do this work together. So, so the person who I thought was my twin, have we had previous lives together? Oh, you're just saying the same person is also implying the person I thought was my twin. We've had previous lives together because she could feel a very strong vibration to that person always. So see, that's kind of what I said. It depends. Yes, you can have had multiple lives with that person. Depends on what's in the contract, but it doesn't mean you've had to. Everybody, this is not cookie cutter necessarily. There's a lot of pieces that are like common and similar, but it doesn't mean that it's all one size fits all here. So with the ascension process, is it possible to undergo body changes and even sickness or illness that were not present before, but now has shown up and asking for more life change? Well, absolutely. I have a whole video on the ascension aspect, but one of the reasons why I went ahead and brought this into this is because undergo body changes. I wanted to say something about that. The body changes as we start to align with beloved and we get closer and closer. And I've had this happen with clients as well as myself, having a full structural change of structure of even jawlines, teeth. I've had perfect teeth that are now crooked. Like body changes that are changing as merging with the beloved on full merger has created these shifts physically in the body that's creating body changes. And that's where a lot of like twin flames, eternals will come in and they will look like twins. They look like each other, but that could also be the opposite. They could be totally different. They could be yin and yang, that's creating the balance of that. So again, one size doesn't fit all. So I hope this has been helpful to continue to dot some I's, cross some T's. Please make sure to watch for, I'm going to be doing an 11/11 portal video coming up to help prepare for that. And if you've not got plugged in, I still got a few openings for that 11/11 portal activation. I've been channeling in all that information for 11/11 coming up. The link below, and please check it out. It's going to be phenomenal. I cannot wait for that. I've got a few openings for that left in order to participate in that heart expansion, as well as multiple other things that are going to be taking place. But I can't wait to share with you what's came through about helping you to free your soul and to do a combination of cancel contracts, but really complete your soul contract is what it's about. And more to come on that. All right. So happy full moon here in Taurus on November 3rd, 4th of 2017. Have a great and blessed weekend. And keep the comments coming. Please like, share the shine. And thank you so much for being here and showing up in my journey and being a part of my contract and our contract together to be here to facilitate your journey. Much love to you. Many blessings. May you always face fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Namaste.